Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Take of Six Podcast. I'm your host, Leah, and I cannot begin to describe this overwhelmingly joyous feeling of okay. So, over the last 6 months or so, I have been working on consistency, working on my discipline, still a work in progress. And one thing that has been a constant for me is learning to make room for the things that I am really praying for and things that I'm really wanting to come welcome into my life. And then opening the doors for the things that I don't want here anymore and just learning to release those things. Um, it's been such an eye opening, sometimes tumultuous journey, but it has been so necessary in showing me exactly what I need to do in order to elevate not just in my faith, but in my confidence and in my discipline as well. And it just transfers like it's almost like water going into different parts of my life. And so, um, really making room for the things that I wanted in my life when I got to Seattle was just something that I was kind of doing almost subconsciously. Like I wanted to be welcoming. I wanted my place to be a place of escape, a place of peace in a really wild city where there's so much going on all the time. I wanted to have a space not just for myself, but for a relationship, for close friends, for family should they want to visit. Um, just my little oasis in the city. And slowly but surely, as I'm starting to create that space in my place at home, I'm also creating that space in my life. People talk about moving to new areas and how it's hard to make friends and it's hard to do these things and all this other stuff. And a lot of people will talk about, oh, when you come to Seattle, there's a Seattle freeze and it's going to be hard to make friends because nobody really. And I'm like, that's anywhere I've ever moved. Anywhere I've ever moved, it's always been hard to break into any kind of friends group, even if you're new with the other person, it's always hard to break into a friends group. But what I have noticed is I was open and willing to continuously put myself out there, whether people flaked or not. And I've met some really, really great people, not just as friends. And I've been on some really, really interesting outings. But business associates. I've been networking. I've been meeting different people for opportunities to speak and things like that. I just did my second seminar. There's just so oh my goodness, there's so many things. And I want to kind of talk about previously we talked about letting go and how there's so much that you can learn from learning to let go. And because I didn't hold on to what my past was, because I didn't hold on to what I thought I was or who I think I should be, whether I thought that I was ahead or behind whomever else, I was right on time for whatever I need to be. And recently, if you didn't listen to this past episode, I was in the process of finding a new home for my dog Colt, and whew, that one still hurts. I've had Colt since he was a puppy. I got him at 7 weeks old, and I just knew like I had been thinking about it, praying about it, and just like knew I was getting a dog. And I went and I saw him and I had him, and we've had like 5 amazing years together. And it was really hard for me to accept that now is the time for him to go and love on someone else. And people were just like, oh, I would do anything I could to keep my dog and things like that, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, but he served his purpose. I got Colt when I was at a very, very dark time in my life. And he helped me to get out of bed. He helped me to stay up, to create a schedule. He helped me to be responsible and to be more disciplined in my life and making sure that I'm planning things out and taking care of things. He really, really helped me with that. And he was a great companion for those 5 years. But one thing that really changed for me is that when I got to Seattle, the environment, of course, is very different. And I did not need my allergy and asthma medicine as often as I did in the other environments that I've lived in. Any other time I'm on like constant meds, like I'm going to the doctor, like getting inhalers, nebulizer medicine, antihistamines, steroids, whatever the case. Like I need it all. And I know that I am deathly allergic to dogs, but I got him when I was already on all this medicine. I got to Seattle. He was with my brother. Thank you, CJ. He was with my brother for almost 5 months or something like that while I got adjusted here. And in that time, I was barely on anything. I barely even took allergy medicine. And I was at the zoo and hanging out in the water and going to different places, all these other things. And when he came back, immediately migraine, congestion, just asthma attacks. And I'm just like, oh no, the, who I really can't keep you. I really, I really can't keep you. Now I was worried being in the middle of the city and it not having many green spaces for dogs and things like that. And he is very much a country suburban dog that is used to having grass to run around in, a backyard to play in, all this other stuff. And I just knew for me, I didn't want him to live this high up away from so many green spaces and not having the space that he needs to go and do his own thing. And then I was like, I can make it work. I can make it work until he came back and I was just like, I'm not, I can't be sick. I don't want to be sick for this next phase of my life. Like, I feel like I'm getting healthier. I'm making better choices. And I really don't want to be stuck in that. And it was a very hard decision, but I think it was a very necessary decision to make. And it really hit me hard the week after he left. Try, okay, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Okay, I'm good. The week after I was went downstairs, talked to the concierge, told the concierge, I made an appointment with the shelter. He's got an appointment with the shelter next week. I can't find a home for him. And the concierge was like, no, we're finding a home. So sure enough, like he's asking everybody who comes in the door, hey, do you want a dog? Hey, do you want a dog? And this one guy from East Oakland said, let me have a play date with him, see how I like it. And if it works out, then I'll go ahead and take him. And I'm just like, oh, this might be it. This might be it. And it went well. It went great. And he has Colt now. And so I'm just like, this is wild. Like, thank you, Lord, for letting him find, a loving, companion and all this other stuff. And I'm just so glad that I didn't have to take him to a shelter, because that I think that would have broke me. I would have cried right then. Like, if they were like, yeah, we can go ahead, because he's such a good dog. But him leaving and making space for other aspects of my life, right? It it's helped me to more closely, actually, him leaving was another step in my journey of making space for other things. For instance, I want to do more professional speaking events. I want to do more events where I'm working with business owners and corporations and people in leadership, and teaching them how to be more compassionate, have the emotional intelligence to have conversations about empowering their employees and direct reports and things like that. I want to have more of those team meetings and really build my business. And I think that because I was able to let go of such a huge part of my life, of who I was, to get me to where I am today, it has made so much room for a lot of things. I just did my a second speaking engagement. I've never had them this close before in the last 2 months, which is wild. Thank God for paid invoices. Can we just take a minute and just thank God for paid invoices? Because, amen, yes, like we Paid invoices are, oh goodness, yes, bring it to me, bring it to me, bring it to me. But learning how to make room for what it is that I want, and what I'm looking for and what I'm going for, even if I kind of like feel like I'm missing the point a little bit or I'm missing the mark, I always land somewhere in the vicinity and eventually everything balances out. This past weekend, Jason came over and came to Seattle to visit, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe you're here. Oh my goodness." And just reflecting on how even in our friendship, we make space for each other. And when as we were walking through the city and it's like, "Hey, he knows like I'm a big like, oh, it's a toy store. Oh my gosh." He's just like, "We're going in there, right?" I'm like, "Yes, yes, 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 we're going to toy store." So we went into like quirky stores, bookstores, toy stores, all these other places, whether it was good, bad, or indifferent, candy stores especially. I still haven't finished that candy. I really It's gonna take me another week to get you that candy. But and I didn't even get a lot. That's crazy. But it's just been just making space and time in the journey for life to kind of ebb and flow, and being open to what it is that you want and not being so afraid of it. I think that was my biggest thing, was I was so afraid of success in any form, because I knew how much work it would take for me to replicate it. It would take work for me to continuously do it again and again and again and again. But now there's more of a there's more of a how do I want to say? There's more of an emotional connection to my goal. Not because it feels closer than ever, but because I have essentially let go of the things that are not serving me at this point, that now all I truly deeply want are the things that bring me joy, the things that bring me peace, the things that bring me happiness, the things that challenge me, the things that push me, the things that support me, the things that keep moving me toward my goal and in success and whatever that looks like in different stages of my life. Because I have really stepped out of myself to say, okay, let's take stock, let's take inventory, right? Let's look at where you were 5 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, and where you want to be 3 months from now, 6 months from now, 3 years from now. Where where are you on that journey? Are you still going to hit your mark? And it has just been so surreal that every time I have let go of something and started working on something else and started moving toward, I find myself polishing up other skill sets that eventually work its way into whether I'm collaborating on a podcast, whether I am going to a public speaking event or to a networking event, or passing out business cards or exchanging social media information. I am learning that I have to get out of my head and post. I have to get out of my head and meet people, because it has to work out. And as many times I tell myself that, like, things just have to work out, like, I think I started believing that maybe like 4 years ago. They just have to. Things have to work out. It doesn't matter how dark, how glib, how painful things are. It has to work out. Some things are going to suck, yes, but it has to work out. And as long as you keep the faith, keep believing, keep pushing, like, things will work out. And learning to let go of my expectation of what workout means or what success means in that space was huge. Once I learned that a friendship, a relationship, a job, um, an opportunity, or whatever, it doesn't have to come prepackaged in this box with this bow and your name and all these glittery things and all this other stuff. It doesn't have to come perfectly packaged. Just getting opportunities, just engaging with people, just learning how to connect with others on just more of a cerebral level, like learning how to do those things have been more important to me, more meaningful, and it has pushed me further than if I were to achieve the success that I thought that I saw. So, right now, one of my major goals is being able to do a live event for 200 to about 300 people leaders to teach them about leadership as a service. To talk, well, I mean, teach, talk, coach, whatever, to talk to them about leadership as a service. Now, I mostly have it written out. Okay, when I say written out, practiced. When I say written out, that means it's practiced. Like I've gone to my window, I've done the writing, I've taken the notes, I've practiced it over and over. I'm just, waiting for the opportunity to go ahead and do it. And that opportunity can come through a school, it can come through a library, it can come through a corporation. It could be an impromptu thing. There's so many different ways that it could come that I'm just open to it happening. And because I'm open to it happening, it's got to, like, it has to happen. Like there's no other way for it to go, right? Because there's so many times of it not happening that eventually, as I'm starting to do more and more events and still getting calls for other events, oh my gosh, loved your event, things like this, things like that, getting that great feedback. Eventually, as I do more, I'm going to end up in a room, 200 to 300 people leaders, teaching them, coaching them about how leadership is a service. It has to happen. Like, that's the kind of crazy faith that I've been working in out who I think 3 years. I want to say 2019 is when things just have to, they have, as much hell as I've been through. And I really used to think that people who were more insouciant, like they're always sunny, always cheerful, always like, oh, it's, God's plan and it's a blessing. And it's like, yeah, but can we acknowledge that things kind of suck right now? Things feel a little terrible. Like they do. Like it hurts. Like it really did. It hurt me a lot to have to leave certain situations, have to let go of certain things, especially when it came to who I thought that I was or who I was supposed to be. And because I'm not that person. And I want to be better and I want to do this and all this other stuff. And when I thought that I would never achieve that person. And it's like, yeah, no, you're doing it. Character growth takes time. But I don't have to be anyone else other than me to achieve the things that I want to achieve. There have been many times where I have been told I'm too direct or abrasive. I am, my personality is too big, or it's I'm too of something, right? And it's like, no, I'm just enough me. I'm just enough me to make sure that you get what you need out of this interaction. I'm just enough me. Now, if you're used to people toning down, because that's not what we do around here at Take a Space Podcast. We take up that space. We own the space we occupy, right? Just because you're used to other people shrinking back or making you feel bigger than what you are, and you met somebody with a bigger personality. I'm not doing this to make you feel negative about yourself. But there may be some things in me that you see, because sometimes we mirror and you're like, I was told this, or maybe I don't like this because I thought this. It sounds like a you problem. It really sounds like a you problem. But while we are in the journey that we're in, this thing called life, just make room for the good stuff. There's so much bad happening. So much bad happening around the world, with different people in different places, that if you can do something that brings you joy, no matter how hard or long you have to work for it, If it's bringing you joy, do it. Be happy for yourself. Be excited. Whether you feel complacent where you are, or if you're stagnant and trying to get out, just do little things. The little things that make you happy. We're still in this whole, no, are we in a pandemic anymore? I don't even know what's going on in the world anymore. Honestly, I don't know. Like, I know life is short. I know that I'm not long for this world. I probably have maybe 100 years left, but I know for sure that I want to enjoy as much of it as I can. As much of it as I can. I want my happy times to outweigh any painful experience, memory, all of that. All the trauma I've had to overcome, and some of the narrations that I've had in my, like, swimming around in my head about who I thought I was, like, learning to let those go was just a freeing thing. It freed up so much more space for me to say, no, I am a public speaker. I am confident in my skills. I am qualified. I am equipped. I will accomplish. And not say, well, because before, if you all listen to episodes like even earlier this year, a lot of the episodes are just like, well, who wants to listen to me? And now I have learned to really own that I do have something important to say. And it's not a question of, oh, is she cocky? Is she confident? Blah, blah, blah. No, I just have it. And I'm sure. I'm sure of what I know. And because I'm sure of what I know, I have the faith, I have the confidence, I have the will, and I'm learning the discipline and consistency to keep pushing and to keep going for it. I'm going to continuously make room for the things that I want. Like, I know that I haven't done any in person events in quite some time, like pre pandemic, but I have already started upgrading my wardrobe for when I do get called in to do events. I have already started preparing different speeches for different topics for when I do get called. I am currently making room at work for different opportunities for the employees. I am making room in my familial life to keep building relationships, to keep build, especially as the babies come in. Oh my gosh. And making room for my nieces and nephews to come and tell me about when they learn how to tie their shoe, when they lost their tooth, they're going to school. Like, when my nieces and nephews call me to tell me these things, or when they call to talk or say hi, or talking to any of my siblings or things like that, making room for those kinds of interactions, making room for that life, because that's the life that I want. I would love for it to be a random Wednesday afternoon and I get a call from one of my nieces and nephews, or one of my siblings, and it's just like, hey, how's it going? And most of them I do talk to, like, every day, but it's just being able to say, well, we don't have to wait till the holidays to connect. We don't have to wait until somebody dies to go, ooh, we should have spent more time. Or wait for a wedding and say, oh, I haven't seen you in like 3 years. You know, I know the life that I want. And as I'm starting to open myself up to that, to say that, yes, I am worthy of this life. And yes, I will have this life and so much more that it comes along with. It has made me more full of peace. And I don't have time for the comparisons. I don't have time for the hate or the bitterness or the jealousy. If other people go out and win $1 million, that doesn't take anything away from me. It doesn't. It just doesn't. Because there are so many more resources in life than we could ever, use up all of, and that was worded really weird, but you know what I meant. But I feel like saying that because someone else got the promotion, I will never get one, or because someone got this gig, I will never get one, or because someone got married, I will never get married, or because someone had a child, that means that that's a child that I will never have. Like, because someone has something that you have been wanting does not mean that you can no longer have that thing. That is just their part of their journey at this time. And I have really just embraced where I am. It is peaceful in my place right now. Shh, listen. The only time there's noise is when I make it or my neighbor decides to do Zumba. One of the two. But but that is really how I feel. Not that there's nothingness, it is just peace. It is just calm. And being so peaceful, it helps me to attract other things that are vibrating on that frequency. Not saying that I don't have to work hard, because I absolutely do. I'm not writing on these windows for nothing. I absolutely have to work hard for these things, but I'm not struggling for success. I don't have to start from the bottom. My parents worked way too hard for me to start at the bottom. So I'm going to start from where they passed me the baton and keep going forward. And then keep building the life that my parents started for me. And I get to keep pushing and keep pushing others and keep pouring into others as they continue to pour into me, and making that space, making that room for all those things. It's unmatched. It's like, I wish that I can just articulate clearly how more connected I feel to my goals now that I have let go of the things that don't serve me anymore. Whether it's TV shows or relationships, whether it's where I live or where I work, when I let go of the things that don't serve me. For instance, I quit when I quit my job, I want to say 4 years ago. I didn't have another lily pad I was going to. Like, I didn't have any backup plan. I was told to quit, go to Charlotte. I said, Lord, I need you to make this clear. Are you sure? If I quit, I ain't got no money in the bank, so I can't just quit. He's like, nope, you're gonna quit. You're gonna go to Charlotte. Da da da. All these things, and I was just like, okay. I quit. I was taken care of. When I let go of a job, because they absolutely burned me way too many times, and I still stayed because I thought I needed a paycheck. No, I quit. Once I let go of that job, I was free to not work for like 2 months. All my stuff was paid for. Thank you, Lord. Oh, thank you, Lord. Not saying it didn't get stressful sometimes, but because it did. But I feel like my faith was absolutely like built up in such a way that like it's dang near unshakable now. It is. Oh my gosh, my faith is so strong. Like, I cannot. Oof, goodness, that was a time, and God really just showed up and showed out. And when I got my job, I'm now being paid 10,000 more to work a different job that is what I really wanted to, or the department that I wanted to work in, not necessarily what I was doing. And now the job that I'm doing now is really what I wanted to do for a long time. So once I just start I'm not saying quit your job, please. I'm not trying to be Beyonce and tell y'all out here to quit your job and release all this. No, I'm telling you, take inventory of where you are in life. Just take stock. Take a minute, take stock in life. What is one thing this week that you can let go of that is not serving you? Whether that is you keep promising yourself that you're going to start working out on Monday and Monday never comes, whether it means that, you decide that you wanted to stop talking to someone, whether that means that you wanted to start going to church, or you wanted to start this regimen, or you wanted to stop doing something, whatever it is, pick a small thing. Pick a small thing. If it's not serving you, pick something small, just something small, and practice just releasing that to make room for a new thing. Now, don't transfer one bad habit for another, but release the thing that is not serving you, whether that is, drinking coffee 14 times a day and you know that it's not giving you any energy, and instead going for like a brisk 15-minute walk in the morning to get the adrenaline going, get the endorphins in, get the serotonin, all that other stuff, break a good sweat. I don't know. Can you break a sweat in 15 minutes? If you walk hard enough, I guess. But just release something small that's not serving you and let me know all about it. I really want to know, what did you release that was small? Give it a couple of weeks and let me know how it goes. I'm really interested because it's something that I know that has worked well for me. Not everything is for everybody, but you have to be willing to do it. And I just want to thank you all for tuning in to another episode of Take Up Space Podcast. Please make sure to follow us at Take Up Space Pod. That's Take Up Space POD on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and TikTok, Champions of Discourse. And YouTube. Make sure to follow us on YouTube as well. YouTube hashtag Take a Space Pod or Champions of Discourse, either or. I will be posting the videos there, and I'm just in a good space. Like I'm just in a really good space. Like this, whew, yeah. This is a much needed staycation. And thank you, Jason. I appreciate you so much for coming out. Um, it was just good to be back with my friend, doing random things in the city, just our Seattle shenanigans, and just being able to be free to let life happen as it does without trying to control everything. So release what you have to make room for the things that you need. And y'all have a great one. Thanks.